Good afternoon. Look at the excitement here, and Happy New Year. How many students are in the audience? How many students think it's time to start classes? Let's see a lot of hands go up. Well, I've gotten calls from your parents. They think you should have left 2 weeks ago. Well, my name is Michael Shonrock. I'm a Hornet, and I'm proud to be before you today. Thank you all for being here. Next slide. I want to talk about New Year's resolutions. How many of you have a New Year's resolution? Yeah, come on, admit it. Some of you. I have to admit that last year I had a New Year's resolution that I was going to join a local health club and start working out. I didn't make much progress. So this year I said, no, Michael, I can't give up. I got to be persistent. As a president, you got to be persistent about things. So I said, I'll be persistent. And so the very first day of the new year, I went in there and I joined a local health club. And I was thrilled. How about that? Thank you for joining the health club. Next year, I know what my New Year's resolution is going to be. I'm going to start making use of that membership at the health club. Next slide. Earlier, how many of you were at the meeting earlier about the Higher Learning Commission? How many of you were not at the meeting earlier? How many don't care about either meeting? Just want to be sure that you heard about the refreshments. Good. I just want to emphasize that, as you know, March 23 to 25, 2015, a little more than a year from now, will be the campus visit by the Higher Learning Commission for the reaccreditation for Emporia State University. All of this will be on our skybox. We'll provide opportunities for comments. I want to just ask a few people if they'd stand for a moment, and there's a lot of folks, but David, Jim, you know who you are. Shelley, Kathy, Ken, Joanne, I know Diana is here, and other members of the steering committee. Would you all please stand? Other members of the steering committee for the Higher Learning Commission, please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. I want to thank you for your fine work, and as I attended some of that earlier, if you're having difficulty sleeping some evening, please go out to the link and begin reading the self-assessment. And sincerely, there's a lot of hard work that's been put together. I thank everyone for their work toward that. It's going to be an exciting time for Emporia State University. It's hard to believe, but it's a year away. I've had the opportunity and privilege of serving on a review team at another institution, so I know the effort that it takes to get there, and I want to thank everyone most sincerely. Lots of things that the progress with our study continues to go on. All the folks have been assigned their various areas of the missions and integrity, teaching, resources, and I know that all of you will have the opportunity to share. Again, we've gathered, there's a website, and we want an opportunity for you to provide comments. So please do take an opportunity to provide comments as we continue through that process. Next, and I think it's always appropriate as we begin the new year, is some comments from our shared governance at Emporia State University. I'd like to first introduce our Associated Student Government, but for some strange reason, the faculty are keeping them busy already. And so apparently they're in the library. Now the library is going to 24/7, that's their excuse. But I know they're actively involved and very excited. So first and foremost, I'd like to ask from the Classified Assembly, I believe the Classified Assembly. Oh, good. Lauren, come on up and share some things in the new year. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause.
Everyone. I am Lori Pittman, and I am co-chair of the Classified Assembly. And on behalf of all classified employees, welcome to the spring 2014 semester. The Alternative Service Committee was formed back in February of 2013 and was charged with researching the option of classified employees changing to university support staff. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the members of the ASC committee for all of their hard work this past year. If you are a member of the ASC committee, could you please stand? Nice. There will be 4 town hall meetings in February, and the vote will be on March 5th. So more information about these meetings and the vote will be coming out soon. Again, everybody, welcome.
My best wishes as you continue to review and vote. We remind you I'm from Chicago. If you need some votes, call. Now I'd like to ask Representative, obviously the president of our faculty, Cheryl, to come forward. Cheryl, and by the way, as you're coming forward, I want you to know, please feel free to tweet this event.
Good afternoon. It's nice to see you all. I hope you are all ready for class tomorrow. As you know, he said, I'm Cheryl Lidsey. Our theme for what I wrote in the fall was fostering leadership, building relationships, changing lives. Those are kinds of themes that we've been having throughout the year in all the things that we're doing. Back in September, I quoted Martin Luther King Jr., and since yesterday was Martin Luther King Day, I'm going to re-quote this. All progress is precarious, and the solution of one problem brings us face to face with another problem, which we have been faced with this last month. As you know, the Council on Faculty Senate Presidents received or wrote a social media amendment request in December that was presented to the Kansas Board of Regents. And I have to tell you that when I went before the Kansas Board of Regents last Wednesday, they clearly restated that they are not going to suspend the amendment that they put forward in December, and they will be continuing that amendment. And we will be, a work group has been created. 2 members of ESU's group are on that committee. That would be Kevin Johnson, who is one of the co-chairs, along with Chuck Epp of KU is the other co-chair, and Max McCoy is also going to be on that committee. So we're looking forward to their work on social media on our behalf. And I also have to tell you, thank you very much for all of the Faculty Senate members who attended the emergency meetings of Faculty Senate during the first 2 Tuesdays of this month. So if you're on Faculty Senate, could we stand and everybody else clap for us? So please stand. You did some great work, and I'm very appreciative of helping me look better at Kansas Board of Regents. We are going to have lots of more issues this semester. We're going to continue to think for ourselves, to take initiative, to be the solution to the problems that we face. We're going to be proactive in our endeavors, and we will foster leadership, build relationships, and change lives in our efforts as Faculty Senate. And I have to say, welcome back. I hope you have a great semester.
And now from our unclassified commission, Rob.
Got to get the tech ready. Hang on just a second here. Good afternoon. My name is Robert Gibson. I am the president-elect of Unclassified Commission. The unclassified staff across campus are a group of employees who occupy a variety of professional positions across campus. And if I could just take a minute and have all unclassified staff stand and be recognized, if you would, please. Would you do that for me, please? All unclassified. As you can see, there's a bunch of us. Sharon Brown, the president of Unclassified Commission, and I want to welcome everyone back to a new semester and beginning of an awesome new year. If you're a classified or unclassified staff person, you've likely been back at work, toiling away, since January 2nd, getting ready for the start of the new semester. We want to thank all of those individuals for your hard work over the holiday period. We also want to thank all the individuals, I'll start over. I want to be sure and recognize, rather, all the staff in your area who have been busy getting the campus ready for another exciting year at ESU. We have several new exciting projects underway that we want to be sure and bring to your attention. One of them is an employee mentorship program and a possible new technology training program, both designed for onboarding new employees across campus. And we're excited about those new initiatives. So look forward to details about those 2 initiatives and others as we start to get the new year underway. So in closing, it's a great day to be a Hornet. Thank you very much.
Next slide. I recognize today that we have in front, and we'll recognize at the end, many of our retired employees, retired faculty, staff. Let's give them a round of applause to thank them for being here today. Thank you. Also want to give special thanks to two individuals. As you know, Ray, our Vice President for Administration and Fiscal Affairs, Marie, our Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, have decided to retire at the end of this year. If they are here, please stand, and please, if we can, let's give them a round of applause and thank them for their decades of service. I want to thank Dean Kathy Ermler, who will be chairing the search for the Dean of Arts and Sciences. Dr. Jim Williams, Vice President, will be chairing the search for the Vice President for Administration Fiscal Affairs. And also Dean Gwen Alexander will be chairing a search for a new Associate Provost position. And we thank you for your time and your energy throughout the spring semester. Next. Thought it'd be interesting to share with you. I had the opportunity, I get lots of emails, by the way. I'm blessed with more email than I deserve. And sometimes I'm wondering where they come from. But one of the many was from the Chronicle of Higher Education, asking presidents, getting a survey about their thoughts and ideas, the things that, in essence, you're thinking about, maybe even keeping you up at night. By the way, I know that some of you know I sometimes email in the middle of the night. I do that sometimes. I have to share a quick story that early on when I did that, it's about 3 in the morning and I woke up, and I'm sure like many of you, you can't fall asleep right away, so I just got up and started emailing. So about 3:30, I finally finished up my emails, went back to sleep. About 7:30, I'm in the office early, as I generally am, and phone goes off and says, I won't mention who, but said, Michael, did you email me at 3:30 this morning? I said, yes, I'm surprised it's taken so long for you to get back to me. That was my first month on the job. They've been calling ever since. Sometimes you just wake up. But let me share with you some of the things that fellow presidents are thinking about when it comes to public higher education. Now, more than ever, the one thing that continues to think, we all think about in terms of it, presidents especially, is finances. It's probably one of the things we continue to think about day in, day out. And other items that we continue to think about pretty much on a daily basis is not only our budgets, but not surprising, fundraising. And I'll be sharing more about the tremendous success we are having with both this year. Surveys also are things such as planning for the future, and as you will see, we'll be talking today about our campus master plan, our strategic plan, and other initiatives, and other partnerships, and enrollment. These are things that we are continually thinking about and talking about with one another. I have to say that I recently was attending the NCAA meeting, and it was hosted this year in San Diego, California. It's a lot like Emporia, just different, except for the mountains and the ocean and the warm weather. But I had an opportunity, and I think about all the challenges that we're facing, and met with two of our alums. They're both 94, and the Motts, and we were chit-chatting about wonderful memories and wonderful stories about Emporia State and the things that they continue to love and the things that they know are continue to be challenges. I have to share then, too, probably a week before that, I gave a call to someone called Paul Edwards, and you may know Paul is the inventor of Corky. Paul turned 99 that day. So I called him to wish him a happy birthday, and he goes, what are you doing today? I said, I'm calling you. He goes, what else are you doing? I said, I don't think I can get there in time. But you know, it's amazing, his energy, his enthusiasm, and so we do plan to get back out to California to visit with him on his 100th birthday, which is just amazing. So I wish I hope I have the energy Paul has, or the Motts have at that point in my life. There are things that we as presidents continue to think about, which I think is important for the audience to know, for how do we define success? Balancing our budget, our reputation as an institution, retention, graduation rates, obviously meeting, if not exceeding, our fundraising goals, looking at the quality and improving the quality of our programs, academic programs particularly, certainly faculty and staff morale, relationships with other constituent groups, such as our legislators, are always important, student morale, financially being sure that it's accessible to students as they enter our institution, our placement, and of course, town and gown relationships. And all those things, I thank all of you, because together we've been very successful in the ways that we continue to look at success at this institution. There are things that university presidents and all of us are doing together that we are trying to look at keeping the cost of attendance, the net cost to students reasonable. We obviously are continuing our fundraising efforts. We're looking at new programs, especially the graduate area, out-of-state and international students, and I'm proud we have a large group of international students who are here this spring, and many from different countries that we've never had in the past. I saw one this morning. I said good morning, and He goes, hi, what's your name? I said, Michael Shonrock. He goes, what do you do here? I said, stuff. And he goes, I do too. I'm excited to be a Hornet. I said, great. He goes, can I get a pin like that? So I gave him I'll give you this one. He goes, can you get another one? I said, I know a guy. But it's exciting to see that they're excited about being a Hornet. And I think that's one of the most important things. We have to continue to look at our enrollment, continue to build on that. And as you may know, and I thank everyone on the graduate, undergraduate, enrollment management teams, we are building our base as an institution. And I really appreciate the work. As you may know, we're calling it Corky Plus. Already 5 counties on the east side of Kansas City are now considered in-state tuition. And just recently, we're now recruiting about 20 counties in Oklahoma that will now be considered in-state tuition. I've already got a request in. We're going to keep going down into Texas. I've been there. I know that area. And someone goes, how can we stretch that far? I said, I'm just going down I-35. So I just want you to know we're going to continue to build because we understand the importance of that as an institution. Next. Over the holidays, I finally had a chance to read something that didn't require reading. Just some things I wanted to keep up with. And one of them was the Gallup, which I've had the opportunity to work with over the years, and their business journal. And it really talked about increasing leadership capacity at all levels. They use the term as a company. As you know, Gallup does a few surveys with thousands of people and has a pretty good perspective on things. But I thought as I read through that, I thought about as we think the future of Emporia State University, changing the lives that we have each and every day, how do we continue to increase the capacity of our organization involved? Things like keeping our employees engaged, involved throughout the process is important. And that's why as we talk about the campus plan, strategic planning, that engagement is going to be important. I think it's important then, too, to have common thoughts and ideas about our vision and our mission for the future. It's important, I think, then, too, and I've asked all of our senior leadership team to take very seriously that we are very accessible and visible to the campus and the community. I think that's important. It's always fun to me, by the way, I go to Walmart sometimes, and sometimes I just wear jeans and a sweatshirt. Sometimes students go by and say, you look just like the president. So I've been told that. And he goes, but he doesn't dress like that. So it's okay, but I think we need to be visible, and I think all of us need to be visible in the things that we do. It's also important about communication. I don't know how many times in our shared governance groups we talk about ways to enhance communication. We all have a responsibility, folks, not just in this room, but our campus, the community, the state, and the nation, and the world, to keep people communicated day in and day out. And there's lots of opportunities for us to do that. It's also important, I think, for me, with shared governance, and the importance is engaging everyone in our strategies, our campus plans, mostly in terms of the future leadership that we have. Next, I love Yogi Berra. I wanted to be a baseball player. Didn't turn out. Here I am. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. Folks, we are now taking a very exciting road for Emporia State University. Lots of things are happening. Lots of things are going to occur. Next. As we look ahead, there are 5 things in alphabetical order that I want to share a little bit about to give you a sense about the direction, where we're going at Emporia State University. Our campus master plan. You may recall in the fall at our General Assembly, we invited Mr. O'Malley from the Kansas Leadership Center to talk a bit about a partnership, and I want to talk a bit about how that has continued. The legislative session, I believe we have some good news. The Now and Forever campaign, even better news, and even our strategic planning process. As you may know, our Engaging Excellence Plan ends in 2014, so obviously it's time to build a plan for the future, and I want to appreciate those who are involved with that. Next, first, the Campus Master Plan. The smiley faces means we're done with those. We have researched the research of the research. We have identified the campus in different ways. Our partners with Gould Evans have been very, very helpful and very supportive in providing great direction. They have also worked very diligently with other campuses prior to in developing what this place is going to look like in the future. And I can share with you, folks, I close my eyes, I can see it. It's kind of fun now to see it written down on a piece of paper. So I'm excited to see that in the future for Emporia State. We've explored a lot of ideas, and now it really comes down to direction. What are the initiatives? What are the things we're going to focus on? I'm going to ask, if you happen to be a member of the Campus Master Planning or Steering Committee, would you please stand if you are able? If you're a member of the Campus Master Planning or Steering Committee, please stand. You're here, I know you are. Give them a round of applause. What you're going to see, and again, it's on Skybox. We want to, as of today, there'll be opportunities to provide comments, and we appreciate the comments we've received. What you're going to see is some real change in terms of look and a feel. One of the largest billboards we have is the highway, and yet we don't do a very good job of articulating that. And so you'll see ideas about the north entrance in a very different way as you come off the highway and come into Emporia. You're going to see some things about the east and west sides, and as you probably know, there are some things happening in the Highland area, and I want to thank our foundation for their continued investment. You've gone by before in our partnership with the city. There's been some properties that aren't there anymore, and you can start seeing the beautiful campus of Emporia State. And there's opportunities, I think, there, as you'll see, with a number of things for the institution in terms of buildings, parking, and the list goes on. On the east side and the west side of campus, you'll see, wouldn't it be nice if those power lines weren't there anymore? Wouldn't it be nice if there was actually a sidewalk you could walk on up and down? Wouldn't it be nice if there was some green space? These are all parts of the things that will become realities at the institution. I also want to share about the south part of the plan. And let's go to the next slide. You'll see this. This is one of many slides, but I think it's important to see it's a different look and a different feel. You'll get a better feel for it when you go out onto the website and look at the number of slides. But on the south end, I want to give you a special thanks, all of you, especially at Emporia Main Street, other partners in the Chamber of Commerce, Regional Development Association, especially our city and county commissioners, our university and foundation leaders, and other community leaders on the south end between 9th and 12th Street. And we are going to continue our discussions, and we're making great progress toward that end. Could be one of the largest redevelopments in the history of this community. The Black and Gold District is becoming a reality, not just in terms of thoughts and ideas, but we're getting it more and more on paper. And I appreciate the fact that this is a great investment on behalf of everyone for the institution. People demand different types of things, and we want to be sure we can meet those expectations in the future. I will tell you I'm excited, and certainly I'm excited about the partnership with the community. Folks are excited. They're looking forward to it, and they are really bought into the types of things we're trying to do, which is this institution is not just a great economic developer for the place, but it's a great partner. It's a great part of our family. And I want to thank them for that. Next. The Kansas Leadership Center has been a great partnership. If you remember last fall, we talked and had Ed O'Malley come and speak about something called the common good. What I love about being back in Kansas is that humble Kansan. You know, we don't like to brag much, and as you know, some of you know, I came from a state that bragged about everything, all the time. It was always bigger and better. And so sometimes we have to find a place in the middle, folks. We got to find a place from not bragging to a little bit of bragging, a little bit of pride and excitement about what we are doing. What I love about the Kansas Leadership Center and my individual discussions earlier on is they really talk to Kansans. They surveyed out, they checked all the things about leadership, but they really focused on what Kansas really believed was important. If you happen to be one of the, we have some of our faculty, I think, that are here. We have a number of faculty, about 18 faculty and students, that were some of our initial group that went in August and just recently came back from a 3-day visit to the Kansas Leadership Center in Wichita. If you are here, please stand. If you're here, please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. And now, not too long ago, our senior leadership also had the opportunity to go down to Wichita and had the opportunity to go through another version of the Kansas Leadership In-Service Training Program. Would you please stand? Senior leadership, you know who you are. Give them a round of applause. I want to give you a sense that sometimes we think it's a trendy thing. What we're going to do, it's a volunteer effort. We start off early to say, is this something we want to consider about, embedding these ideas, these competencies into general education, helping ways to make us distinctive as an institution. And I appreciate the faculty's work early on because that's ultimately where we want to begin with our faculty. Later on, we want to be sure that others on the university leadership team understood the work that's being done there. And I really want to thank the Kansas Leadership Center for their effort. I mean, folks, we could not have paid, don't have the resources available to provide the type of in-service training they provided, the training materials, the meals, the list goes on. And even though they're not here, let's give the Kansas Leadership Center a round of applause. I won't talk On the website, on our website, there'll be more information about some things. But what an organization talked about equipping people to make making change for the long haul for the common good. Focus on leadership being an activity, not a role or position. Focusing on Kansans, ways that we can look at the challenges and the opportunities that are before us. I don't think anyone would disagree that if faculty, staff, or students, especially our students, as they go on to make a difference in the lives of others, that learning how to have a competency like diagnosing a situation, managing themselves, energizing others, intervening skillfully are all good things. By the way, we know there are always going to be concerns, and there's always going to be aspirational things. There's always the gap in between. What I thought was interesting, though, is we talked a lot about the technical work that we sometimes do versus the adaptive work. We're going to adapt in the future. The adaptation of any college university is going to be important. And the adaptive challenge just means we have to think outside a little bit, look at different ways of operating, demand learning from one another, look at our stakeholders ourselves, what's essential. And so I think there's going to be some great opportunities for us as an institution. Again, it's a great experiment. I appreciate the work that's been done already. I had a great meeting with Gary White earlier today about the excitement and the opportunities in the future. And I thank the faculty from my heart for your efforts and your time to be part of this and provide leadership. Don't be surprised, department chairs, if you may have an ask as well to see if you'd like to learn more about this and provide that opportunity so we can continue to build the partnership and the relationship. By the way, when you go down to Wichita and you hang around with folks who are in a brand new building worth $10 million, I'm thinking they're doing something right. And so they've got great partners themselves, and we want to continue to look at that, and I look forward to it. Next. Last year, we were quite excited about holding our own in the legislative session. As you know, sometimes things don't work out the way they hope to. I have to share you on another note. I was talking to our football coach and said, you know, Coach, I'm excited. Since I've been here, I'm taking at least some credit. My first season here in football was 10-2, won the Kansas Bowl, feeling good. This last year, 9-2. You know, went to a playoff. Said, Coach, I don't like the trend. You know, we've got to keep doing it. We've got to keep winning. But, you know, the bottom line is we are making progress. I do think it's important, and I want to take a moment. Kevin Johnson and Brian Denton, if you're here, if you'd please stand just for a moment. Let's give them a round of applause, and here's why. They are blessed with the task of being our legislative liaisons. Let me say that again. They're blessed with the task of being our legislative liaisons. There are 165 reasons that we think this is going to be a good year for Emporia State and the Kansas higher education. 125 members of the House, 40 members of the Senate. So please, if there's one thing you can do, please do thank Senator Longbine, Jeff Longbine, Representative Don Hill, and Speaker Pro Tem Peggy Mass for their continued support, efforts, thoughts, and prayers for Emporia State University. And I think it's most important that we really pray, pray for this budget to get approved by the legislative group. I'm looking forward. We met with the governor just recently. He was very optimistic about the revenue projections. That made us more optimistic. I'm an optimist, so I even feel better. Some things that I think is important for this year to understand. As you know, this last year, there was an impact. The governor is recommending that we get $99,000+ back, a technical error that was done. Good news, we checked the numbers. By the way, I can add and subtract. It paid off this time, at least 99,000 reasons why. The next number for FY14, which is this year, would be reinstatement of something called the salary cap. That was about an $850,000 impact. As you'll see, the governor is recommending half back to all the schools in the Kansas Board of Regents. You'll notice that 850 divided by 2 is not 572,000. Let's just simply say the governor is being special kind to Emporia State University, and we are especially bending his ear to be special kind to Emporia State University, and we appreciate that so much, appreciate his staff. Next year's budget, FY15, is the recommendation to put back $856,000, the full salary cap, into our operating budget, which would be tremendous for the institution. What I'm always very excited about, and we've worked on this for some time, and I've asked our staff to look in the last 10 years, in the governor's budget for the first time is $1 million to create an honors college at Emporia State University. I think that's pretty good news. We should have that. I sure like $1 million friends. Next, now and forever. Well, we have not been very silent. I'm looking over at Dina Sue, and I want to take a moment then, too. We have been very fortunate to have Jerry Smith from the Smith Group working with us on our campaign. Jerry's here today. Jerry, would you please stand so we can recognize and thank you for your support. I thought about when I first came on board, we kind of kicked off this thing called the Now and Forever campaign. Not very, we didn't wait very long. I think I came 6 months later, brought in Dina Sue. A year later, we're already well into a campaign. To say we've not done it very traditionally is an understatement. Most people have a silent phase. Well, we've not been very silent, and we probably will not be silent about the things that we're doing. I want to thank many of you. Over 250 alumni, faculty, staff, friends have signed up to be part of our National Campaign Committee, advocates for private support of Emporia State, and I thank you. As of today, we are now exceeded $24 million of a $45 million campaign that's supposed to go from 5 to 7 years. In a year and a half, that's not bad. I think that deserves a round of applause. Had a great conversation with another one of our alums and great $1 million donor, and at the end he goes, "What else can I do?" I said, "Introduce me to some more of your friends." He goes, "Which friends?" I said, "Those that are like you." You're going to hear more about our bell ringing opportunities. You know, it's interesting. Dina Sue are talking, we're sort of falling behind. We've been so successful. And so every month you're going to hear one or two or more that are going to be happening, bell ringing in celebration of our success. We're measuring our success lots of ways. We're finding new donors, new gifts. We're finding great opportunities to retain those donors. Our alumni participation rate continues to grow. Our stewardship reports. I thank everyone in the foundation for their great work and our foundation trustees. Soon the call center will begin again its campaign throughout the spring, specifically calling to support academic units at Emporia State University. Last spring, they were successful of nearly $100,000 for academic units, and I really appreciate that. We also will be kicking off again our campus campaign for faculty and staff on February 15th. Last year, I'm proud to say 72% of our faculty and staff signed up to be part of our campaign. That's amazing, and I thank you from all the heart that I can because it's so important for us. Private dollars are going to make a difference. Next, strategic plan. I'm going to ask again, if you happen to be a member of the strategic planning cabinet, that steering committee, or the council, would you please stand? Or part of the team, just please stand. People involved with the strategic planning. Give them a round of applause. As you know, we brought back Dwayne Bacchus out of retirement. He doesn't retire well. Amanda Humphrey, our graduate assistant, working with Dwayne and I in our strategic planning process. To say that we've gone through a process is an understatement. I also want to thank Zenny, both Kevins and Andrew for their good work as our faculty representatives on the steering group, and our vice presidents, David, Ray, Dina Sue, and Jim. Our group is going to be meeting again on Wednesday, tomorrow, to really kind of focus down and look at what this vision, this mission, what those big ideas are going to look like. I also do want to take a moment, I do it often, but Kevin Colson, thank you. There's not a person who wants to finish this process more quickly than Kevin and me. So I want to thank you for your persistence and your continued emails. There's not a night that goes by I don't get something from Kevin that says, another idea. Folks, we have swatted everything we can swat. I think we have strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I will tell you that the strengths, you go out to the website, nothing will probably surprise you. Weaknesses are probably nothing that will surprise you as well. Interested about the opportunities, which seem to be driving very much as we look at our future. And the threats, probably the newest thing might be is just a concern about how we continue to support this. But the SWOT analysis is swatted, and we've got thousands of responses on all levels. Also, the gap analysis. I know this will surprise all of you here. The gap is where we are, where we want to go. Big surprise, the gap is resources. So it didn't take an advanced degree to figure this out, but we know that if we don't have these, we'll have to continue to look at different ways that we can move forward. What you're going to find is we have a very good vision in our current program, in our strategy for Emporia State University. What you're going to see is a very different vision. maybe one that looks at the common good, looks at ways that we really do change lives and make a difference. You're going to see a mission statement. We have a very good mission statement, maybe one that's tweaked a bit, maybe one that recognizes the uniqueness and distinctiveness of Emporia State. As you probably all know in this audience, which is amazing to most people, legislators and even board members at first were surprised 1/3 of our head count at this university are graduate students. And that's very unique. So that's a very unique mission for an institution. You'll also see that we'll continue to work on our K-Board 2020 strategic initiatives of alignment, aligning. One of the things that is very much on the radar screen of everyone is our ability to align that 60% of Kansans have some type of certificate, an associate's, bachelor's degree, or some formal education beyond. Another one is about our alignment and attainment in different areas of the economy. You know, we do great work, and I think that the work we've been working with the Kansas Leadership Center, and especially I want to shout out to our general education folks, the faculty and the committee, because they are doing great work as we think about analytical reasoning, oral and written communication, critical thinking, and problem solving, things that are important for the future, and about excellence. We all define excellence in different ways, but it's important for us not just to look at what other regional and national rankings are, but how we measure it ourselves. We have the opportunity to measure what we believe is successful for Emporia State University. Next week, we're going to have some public forums. There'll be a public forum on the 29th, next Wednesday, at 3 o'clock over in the Memorial Union in the ballroom. Please do come by if you'd like to get some sense of mission, vision, and even some of the big ideas that have come out of that. We also will have one in the community that evening at 7 o'clock. You're free to go to either or both. We're going to have it at the Lyon County Courthouse because that seemed like a good place. Plus, the rent was cheap. But more importantly, someplace that the people in the community can be part of that. This is an opportunity for Emporia State University to think very differently about itself. There's some great strengths. Ken Weaver and I were talking while at the Kansas Leadership Center. I don't think he'll mind sharing it, but think of the challenges that are facing our world, our nation, and our state. Emporia State University is ready to take on those challenges, and many of those challenges. One of those is maybe one of those ideas is we've had for a long time. Teaching has been an important part of this institution, part of its history from the very beginning. Literacy is a big part of the community, our state and nation. There's things that we do very well at Emporia State University. Not often you get a letter from a guy named James A. Patterson who decides to give out some scholarships. By the way, I'm going to call James again. It's time. And I'm thinking maybe he knows other authors, so we'll just keep working at it. Next. Chronicle Higher Education also had an interesting article and some things that I gleaned from that I thought was interesting about shaking up the status quo. I'd love to tell you that things are just going to improve, which is like a very non-threatening way of saying it's going to change, but things are changing. I think it's clear around the nation, around the world, it's going to change. The way that we access, the way that we do things, it's going to be different, and we have to be prepared for it. Some big ideas that you sometimes hear about changes on campus. I love this one called the student swirl. Students are often attend multiple institutions to get different learning experiences. Our students are no different at the undergraduate level, probably some at the graduate level. What does that mean in terms of how we deliver the things that we do at Emporia State University and bring closure to that degree for them? Another one which I thought was interesting is this idea of reinventing the academic calendar. You know, colleges are now thinking of new options to be more flexible. It's interesting to me as we think about that because lots of us have thought about it, we've talked about it, we've just looked at our calendars for the future, but I think the expectations are changing, and we probably have to think about that because it's going to impact the work that we do. Lots of discussion about something called competency-based degrees in the mainstream. Lots of controversy associated with those discussions as well, but it's out there. It's things to talk about. I love this. I talk about who drives innovation at an institution. We do. Faculty members and administrators really do share some common ground when it comes to the ideas of change. Of course, we probably have some disagreements about how to get there in the next 10 years. I'm reminded that some years ago, and some of the retired faculty will appreciate this, at a former life in a former place, I was in the Memorial Union, and retired faculty, kind of that George Milton type of guy, was sitting there while the faculty are sitting around chit-chatting about things, and I don't surprise you, they're complaining about the administration. I know that doesn't happen here. It's supposed to be a joke. But as they're talking about that and going on, I love this wise old sage of a faculty member, retired. He looked, he said, wait. Think for a moment. don't be too critical about about the administration. He goes, just think for a moment. Thank goodness we don't get all the administration that we pay for. So folks, we don't want to pay for a lot of it, but we want to invest it in the best ways that we can. Things are going to be shook up. Frankly, it's going to happen at every college and university because that's just the nature of what's happening around the world. Career centers are going to have to probably look at things a little differently. There's much more focus on jobs. Focus on how classrooms look. As you know, as part of our campus master plan, we looked at those types of things and our utilization. So we need to think about how we utilize those. The classrooms of the future are going to be very different, and their access points and how we use that space. I'm proud that our library has gone to 24/5 and soon 24/7. So truly, if you're a parent and you call, it's 3 in the morning, your son or daughter may indeed be in the library. Me. Also some partnerships with the community. What faculty and staff, particularly with administrators and what presidents talk a great deal about is, as you look at the future of the things that we deliver, hybrid courses, face-to-face, online, adaptive learning, things that will help personalize the educational experience. If there's one thing that we do very well here and continue to do well, it's the personalization. We know that because, frankly, folks, I've had the opportunity and privilege of talking to a number of alumni, a number of donors, a number of friends who remember all of you very, very favorably all the time. In fact, they tell me some stories, which later I'll share. Folks, when things change, which they are, when things change, we need to change the way we think. Next. Mark your calendars. I know it's hard to believe. Founders Day, 150-year celebration on the 14th. Please feel free to get your tickets. There are some available. I think they're $5 for one or two for $10. We're very smart here. But please get there. And we are celebrating our gala. I've got more details on the gala because my wife is chairing it. So I have lots of details. Any details you'd like, please let me know. But it'll be a fun event, and again, a tremendous opportunity for us to showcase Emporia State University. Some other announcements I want to be sure that you know, and I want to thank. Last year, special thanks to, we have a President's Community Advisory Council, which I greatly appreciate. Last year, they provided funding so we could provide a scholarship for $1,863 at the Founders Day lunch. They have done that again. Let's give them a round of applause. I think I got them hooked. Want to thank also, we'll have an essay contest. I know that Royal Cross Professor Mel Storm and a number of colleagues have offered again to review those essays. The window of time to write is short. I'll leave it up to that committee to decide if they want to select 1, 2, or more students to be selected, but we will recognize those at the Founders Day Luncheon, and it will be a wonderful event. Interesting enough, earlier today, our Associated Student Government did mention that they do not want to be, overdone with galas, so it's going to be a student gala. A student gala on February 20th. You're all invited. Wear your dancing shoes. I'm going to bring out my big shoes and the bell-bottoms from the 70s. That should scare them, if nothing else. Their schedule there is for the 20th of February. It will be in the Granada Theater. They also have Gabe and Benny, who will be doing a great deal of work with their Right Now and some other things. By the way, this weekend, if you don't know, our men and women are playing basketball on Sunday. I believe one will kick off at 1:30, another around 3:30 against Central Oklahoma. And I'm pleased to announce that if you have an ID, an official ID, or apparently one that looks like an official ID, you may go to the game and get 2 free tickets to go to both or either game for this Sunday. So please, we encourage our faculty and staff especially. I've also been told if you're to bring some others, that use more than 2, I have reason to believe you'll get in. If they have to be potential recruits, they'll definitely get in. If they're paying their tuition that day, they'll get in twice. We'll also that evening be recognizing our honor roll at halftime of our student athletes with a 3.5 or 3.0 and above. It's amazing to me how they balance those things in their lives. It's an exciting time. Next. I don't share a lot of things about what you might want to look at one point or other. I'm sure all of you are familiar with TED Talks. But there was one that I thought was interesting that was shared of all things. I happen to be involved with another group of the community about how great leaders inspire action. I'd recommend that you have the opportunity, as you're going through all the other skyboxes, you might go out and Google this one as well, because it brought up some good ideas. As someone who is a novice futurist, always thinking about the future, there's this concept called diffusion of innovation. In the beginning, you've got those innovators, those folks, small number, maybe 2% if you have a bell curve. You've got the early adopters. You've got those early majority. Those folks who get in, that's about another 30%. Then you have folks who come into it a bit later, and those who sort of lag behind. We no longer have the opportunity to lag behind. We have the opportunity to be innovators at Emporia State University. And I want you to think about three circles. The outside circle being, what we do as Emporia State University. The next inner circle, how we do it. And most important, and the question I think that will be one that will be important for everyone as we think about our future strategic plan, why do we do it? Why do we do the things we've been doing since 1863? We know we make differences. We know we change lives. But that's probably the most important thing that we have to continue to talk about is why we do what we do as we go forward. I'm excited about the future. Next. The future ain't what it used to be. It will be different. Every time I get up, I look in the mirror in the morning, I realize time has passed by. I realize that as I get older, I also want to think about what that future is going to be. Karen and I love being Hornets. We love being part of the Emporia State family. We love being part of the Emporia community. We're excited. Yesterday, as you know, we celebrated Martin Luther King. He talked about having a dream, things that he believed. Well, I have dreams too. Probably not as bold as his, but maybe had the same impact. But if you think about the dream he had, lots of progress has been made, but there's still progress to be made, just like a university. Folks, I have dreams, we all have dreams, but we together can succeed. I believe in Emporia State University, I believe in this community, and I believe we will be highly successful as an institution because we've got the right team right here, right now. And I think that's the most important thing. Next, I want to thank our members of our retired faculty and staff. If you would, let's give them one more round of applause and thank them for being here today. I want to thank all of you for being here today. My name is Michael Schonrock. I'm a proud Hornet, and I look forward to a very successful future for Emporia State University. Go Hornets. Thank you. The reception is out the door.